Now we welcome in the first-year head coach of the Dickinson College Red Devils, Katherine Bixby, 2010 graduate of Ithaca College, and comes to Carlisle as after serving as an assistant with her alma mater over the past few years. Red Devils 5-19 a year ago and in 10th place in the Centennial Conference. Coach, first of all, welcome to the Centennial Conference. We're glad to have you. And being a first-time head coach, what's it been like for you in the preseason?
You know, it's obviously different. There's some sleepless nights, but it's been an easy transition here because there's a lot of administrative support and a lot of help from the other head coaches. I've been seeking their advice and mentorship, and they've been great at it, and it's helped the transition quite a bit. I've enjoyed it.
4 starters are back from last year's squad led by Centennial Conference Rookie of the Year, Mary Martin. She averaged 9.2 points a game. And also she tied for the team's scoring lead with Jennifer Smith, also a sophomore guard. It's got to be nice having 2 young players that gained a lot of valuable experience last year but can also step in and learn your system maybe a little faster.
Definitely. The sophomore class is a strong class as a whole, and Mary and Jenny have done a great job. Energy-wise, the practices are exciting and fast-paced, and Jenny and Mary have really adapted well to it and are stepping out and still showing that same leadership that they showed last year.
A couple other guards that saw some significant starting time last year were sophomore Kelsey Welch and junior Sam Kennedy, and also Sarah Phillips, one of your seniors, came off the bench. So certainly has some experience on the perimeter.
Definitely, the upperclassmen along with Kelsey have been excellent as well. Sarah's been a phenomenal captain leader type so far in the preseason, and she's kind of shown some push to really want to contribute in her last year here at Dickinson.
When you look at your front court, senior Liz Schultz averaged just under 20 minutes a game, 7.5 points, a little more than 3 rebounds a game. Do you count on her for even greater things in the upcoming season?
Definitely. Similar to Sarah, they've kind of shown that senior, leadership and want to make a stamp on a program. In their last year, seniors can kind of go either of 2 ways, and they're definitely going the positive, contributing way, which we're really encouraged by.
The newcomers that have joined the program, any that have stood out in the preseason and make you take pause and say, boy, I can see them contributing significant minutes this season?
Definitely. There's a couple that are going to be important to this season. They're, as a whole, a very talented first-year crew, and they're just following right under the upperclassmen in that strong sophomore class with the energy and willingness to learn, and practices have just been positive, and it's going well.
As a first-year head coach, we don't want to ask you to give away any state secrets, but I'm sure there's a curiosity as to the style of play that you'd like to have the Red Devils undertake this year.
I'm a point guard, so I like to have fun and push the ball, so maybe we'll see some of that this year.
What were your perceptions of the Centennial Conference coming in from IC, and what have you seen so far?
At IC, we played Haverford last year in the playoffs, and I remember preparing for that game, taking on experiences that I had had of the Centennial Conference as an actual high school player in Philadelphia. So I had already known that the Centennial Conference was very competitive, physical. It's kind of that good old, grind you Pennsylvania basketball. And we saw that against Haverford. They really weared us down, and they were super physical, much more physical than the Empire 8. And we're expecting the same thing this year.
I'll stop asking the questions and give you the last word. Anything else you'd like to share about your team and the upcoming season?
We're just really looking forward to it. Obviously, there's some things to turn around, and we're hoping to keep going in a positive direction and, just have a good year.
Katherine Bixby, the first-year head coach of the Dickinson College Red Devils, thanks for joining us today, and best of luck this season.
Great. Thank you, Steve.
Now we welcome the head coach of the Franklin Marshall women's basketball team, Kirsten Richter. Diplomats finishing 9th place a year ago. And Coach, when you take a look at the preseason, a lot of new names dot the roster. Any problems with the team getting to know each other in some respects and beginning to come together as a unit during the preseason?
Practice has been going well. I think that our team has been really showing great effort. Each and every day we get out there on the court. They're a tight-knit bunch. They're coming together and working well together. So we're excited about continuing practice this next week or so and then jumping right into our tip-off tournament.
One starter back from last year's squad, sophomore Sarah Haddon, averaged 7 points a game, a little more than 5 rebounds a game. A great deal of experience gained as a freshman. What are you hoping for her in her sophomore season?
Sarah had a great year as a freshman. Like you said, gained a lot of experience. I think that she has continued to build on that and grown into that role. I think she'll be a little more aggressive on the offensive end and show some more confidence defensively. So we're definitely going to look to her for leadership on the court as well. We're excited for her sophomore year.
Someone else who saw a lot of action coming off the bench, 22 minutes per game in all 25 games, was senior guard Kara Basile. Are you turning over the keys to the offense to her this year?
Kara's been a great contributor throughout our first 3 years. We're really excited for her to take on a larger leadership role this season. Both Kara and Leslie Basile are tremendous leaders for our team and also on campus. So to have their leadership kind of out front for us is going to be huge, and we're very confident in them.
Who do you see joining them in the backcourt?
Well, we have Emily Wetz returning. She's a junior this year. She missed all last season with a knee injury. So we're thrilled that she's back and healthy and ready to go. It's really been fun to see her out on the court right now. We missed her last year. So it's great to have Emily back.
When you look at your front line, graduated 2 experienced seniors, who will join Haddon in the front court?
We have a lot of players that are going to play a lot of minutes. So we have a freshman in Erica Brown who will play a lot at the forward spot. Carly Studnicki had a great summer. She came back to campus ready to go. So we're looking for big things from her as well. And then also we have a couple other freshmen who are going to step up into some big roles. We're looking forward to that.
Who do you see picking up the scoring that was lost to graduation? And you were 4th in the conference in scoring defense last year, but who's going to step up and put the ball in the basket?
Hopefully that gets spread around to everybody. We're looking to play a very team-oriented game. Hopefully we have very balanced scoring from everybody. At least that's what we're shooting for. And I think that the more we can spread that around, the tougher we'll be.
With some of the newcomers in the program, do you find that your experience playing at Franklin and Marshall and the addition of Megan Pauley as an assistant on your staff, who also played in the conference, does that help with the group learning what it takes to be successful at this level?
I think so. Megan's been a tremendous asset for the amount of time that she's been back. She's really a fantastic basketball mind and really an up-and-coming rising star in the coaching ranks. So we're thrilled to have her here. She's been contributing a lot to practice and in the department. So certainly Megan's playing a big role with helping our freshmen get acclimated to what it takes to be successful.
When you look at the conference in recent years, there's been a lot of parity. New champions have popped up. Haverford capturing the championship last year. Who do you see as the top teams headed into 2015?
Well, I certainly think you start the conversation with Haverford coming back as the defending champions. Hopkins will be back strong. McDaniel. I could go on. I think our conference is strong top to bottom again this year, but I think those 3 will probably, you expect them to come back strong, returning some really talented players.
What do you think it will take for the Diplomats to contend for a playoff spot this year?
I think we need to be consistent on both ends of the floor. Like I said, we need to rely on the team-oriented nature of our offense and defense, and the more that we play for each other, the more successful we'll be.
We'll give you the last word. Anything else you want to share with us about the team and the upcoming season?
As always, we're really looking forward to kicking off the season with our Terry Green tip-off tournament, named in memory of our beloved psychology professor who was a faculty liaison So we're looking forward to that. And again, we can't wait to jump into conference play. It's going to be fun every night out there.
Head coach Kirsten Richter of the Franklin and Marshall Diplomats, thanks for your time today and best of luck this season.
Thank you, Steve.
Now we welcome in Washington College head women's basketball coach Alisha Mosley. The Shore women 7-17 a year ago and in 8th place in the Centennial Conference. And coach, when you look at the Shore women roster, the first name that jumps out at you is your do-everything senior guard, Emily Hubley, averaged 11 points, 4.5 rebounds. She's really a do-it-all player for you, isn't she?
She definitely is. We'll look to Emily a lot this year for her leadership. She led us in scoring, assist, and also steals per game last year. And we look, for us to have a successful season, we're going to need that and more from her this year.
She's also going to take on even an added leadership role as she's one of only 2 seniors along with Jackie O'Connell. What kind of added pressure does that bring on those 2 to be the only senior leaders on the squad?
I think along with our 2 seniors, we have some good junior class and sophomore class that are going to provide a lot of leadership. Our team, we have 6 returning kids and 7 freshmen this year. So it is a new role for these guys trying to lead this team, but I think we have a good group of young kids that are good followers. So we have some good leadership and some good followers.
Let's talk about some of those returnees. And junior Carly Kendall averaged over 20 minutes a game last year, 6 points. What role do you see her playing this winter?
Again, like Hubley, for Carly, we expect a lot from Carly this year. I think she has the capability of being a double-double kid with rebounds and scoring. For us to be successful, we're going to need that from her. With her being the only returning post player from last year, she's going to play a lot of minutes for us. And one of our goals is to keep her healthy and keep her in the game so she can play those minutes at a high level.
Any of the other returnees that you've seen improvement during the off-season, preseason development that you hope for additional contributions?
You know what? Actually, yes. I mean, I think all of our returners are going to play a huge role in our success this year. With 6 returners, all of them are going to see more minutes. Kelly Sagowski is a kid who didn't see a lot of minutes last year, who's a great shooter. We'll see more minutes this year. Also, Daniela Falcone, who's another one of our 2-sport athletes kids, is an amazing athlete, and she'll see a lot more minutes this year. And then Allie Grundy, our sophomore point guard, who really came into her own at the end of the season last year. I think she had her best game at the Hopkins game, and we expect her to be one of the other leaders on the court this year.
With only 6 veterans, if you will, returning to the squad, 7 freshmen dot the roster, are there any that you're hoping to make significant contributions this season?
Right now, all of our 7 freshmen are playing hard, working hard, playing hard, and giving us everything they have. We will probably see one of these kids as a starter. We have our first test this weekend, so I'm not really sure which kid that'll be. But we're bringing in the front court. We've got 4 kids because we needed to fill a large gap last year with Bryn Browse, Kat Moore, Dominique Lavender, and Rayleigh Hinton, who will play a little bit of the 3 spot and the 4 spot for us. With the guard position, we got Jordan Weir, Gabby Winsky, and Drew Arnett, who all could play some valuable minutes for us. So right now, we're still trying to figure out which one's going to play a lot, but I think they all are capable players for us this year.
Last year was your first year as head coach and first year in the Centennial Conference. What were your impressions of the conference as a whole? Now you have a year under your belt. What did you think of the conference before you came in, and what did you learn after one season?
I mean, coming into the conference, I had great respect for the conference. I knew a lot of the coaches already, and I knew they were, great X's and O's coaches, and I knew it was going to be tough. Last year, we finished 8th out of 10th. We weren't last, which was a positive, but I think we could have finished higher. But I have so much respect for everyone in our conference. I mean, these coaches are amazing, and I'm just fortunate to be part of it.
What do you think it's going to take for the Shore women to make the Centennial playoffs this year?
For us, like I said earlier, it's going to be, our returners stepping up and playing a bigger role, and then some of our freshmen coming to their own quicker. We need these freshmen not to be freshmen because we're going to have to lean on them a lot this year.
When you look across the conference landscape, who do you think are some of the top players at some of the other schools, the one that causes the coaching staff to take pause when you're looking at film?
Well, I think you have to give respect to the two returning kids from the first team. Perez, who's an amazing scorer. Her height does not deter her from scoring at all. And also, I think Talamy. I mean, Muhlenberg's got an amazing post player who's very versatile, very athletic, and causes us fits all the time. I think you got to give respect to those guys. Then also Haverford has, Lynch coming back, who's an amazing shooter, who, you can't match up with the guard, you can't match up with the post, because she's pretty much a dual threat. And I think Parada from her sinus gave us a lot of fits too in the post. So, I think all the top guns from last year have key people returning. So I think there'll be some surprise kids, with Dickinson having all those freshmen last year. I think those guys will step up into their own this year too.
We'll give you the last word. Anything else you want to share about your team in the upcoming season?
Well, I think we're working hard. We've got our first test this weekend. All I can ask for them is to work hard and play hard and try to get better, and they're doing that. So we're looking forward to the season, and, hopefully we'll be in the top 5 this year.
The head coach of the Washington College Shorewomen, Alisha Mosley, thanks for taking time today. Best of luck this season.
Thank you so much.
Now we welcome Swarthmore College head women's basketball coach Renee Varney. The Garnet finishing 13-11 a year ago and tied for 6th place in the conference, just missing a conference playoff spot. And Coach, I think when you take a look at this year's Garnet squad, you first have to look at who's not on this year's roster, and starting with former conference player of the year, Katie Lytle. You don't replace someone like that, but who might be able to step up and replace some of those numbers, perhaps?
You're correct. We do not replace a Katie Lytle, although I wish I could. But our senior post player, Elle Larson, has had a pretty solid first 3 years of her career, and I think this year she's looking to break out. She's got a lot of personal goals and a lot of goals for the team, so one of the most passionate players I've ever coached, and she's ready to lead this team this year.
Larson averaging 16.8, 0.7 rebounds a game last year, shooting about 47% from the field. You have another starter returning in junior Abby Deckard.
Yes. I tell you, last year we were bit by the injury bug, and Abby was a little bit part of that late in the year, so she's done a great job over the summer rehabbing, and we're happy to have her versatility back. Another player that we really missed last year is junior Jessica Jowdy, who was recovering from ACL injury, but worked her butt off this summer. She's doing fantastic in practice, really stepping up. She's going to be another leader for us also.
You also had another freshman who ended up playing a lot of time last year, averaging over 20 minutes a game, Maggie O'Neill.
Great hard worker. Maggie O'Neill just brings her work ethic and intensity every day at practice. She's one of those in-between players, and her mentor last year, Katie Lytle, taught her very well. She's going to be versatile, have to play a guard, have to play a forward for us. Whatever we need, she's going to step in.
Have there been any other pleasant surprises here in the early going of the preseason camp?
You know, everybody's working really hard. Got a few kids that play fall sports, so that's put us back a little bit, but a big freshman class. 5 freshmen have been with us, and one of them might be fighting for a starting position. I'm not sure, but everybody's equal. Everybody's been playing hard, so we're looking forward to the young kids to step it up.
One of the things that's been a hallmark of your teams over the recent years is an up-tempo style. I have to think that's got to be helpful in the recruiting trail. You have certainly Swarthmore's high academic standards, but when you can show that style of play, that's got to be an attractive to a player.
I think so. It's fun for me to coach. It's fun for them to play. We're not shy about shooting 3-point shots, and I think we're going to continue with that this year. We like to press a lot, so we're going to do that as much as we can. A lot of good athletes on our team, so try and take advantage of that. Swarthmore opened up a brand new fitness center this year. It's beautiful, so kids have been working hard, trying to get in best shape possible to keep up that up-tempo play.
Garnet shot an average of 23 pointers a game last year, on their way to that 13-11 record. Coach, when you take a look at the conference, I think you have one of the words that comes to mind is parity. Certainly, Swarthmore and Gettysburg were in the 2013 championship game. Last year was Haverford Hopkins. Muhlenberg's always been in the mix. Talk about the parity in the conference, if you could.
Well, it's fun at one hand and it's stressful at the other because it's a battle every single night. And, you know, we had some really good games last year that we won that nobody expected. We had some bad games that we didn't win, but that happens to everybody in our conference because everybody's just solid across the board. So lots of fun, lots of excitement in the Centennial Conference.
And the talent seems to be spread out among all the teams as well. Who are some of the top players in the conference that you and the coaching staff find yourself maybe doing a little extra preparation for?
Oh, goodness, Steve. Hopkins always has those solid post players that you got to worry about. Muhlenberg's big kids that they have them back are always tough. You never know what Gettysburg's going to throw out with their zone defense. It's different with everybody, and you got to be ready for everybody.
Well, you'd like to give the coach the last word. Anything else you'd like to share with us about the team and the upcoming season? The coach of Swarthmore College women's basketball team went out and scheduled an unbelievably challenging out-of-conference schedule. We get to play the defending national champions, so we're going to be tested in the conference. We're going to be tested out of the conference and see where it falls. Head coach Renee Varney of the Swarthmore College Garnet, thanks for joining us today. Best of luck this season.
Thanks, Steve.
Now we welcome in Ursinus head coach Jim Buckley. His Bears finished 11-13 overall and in a tie for 6th place in the conference, just missing out on the playoffs. And Coach, talk to us a little bit about the preseason. 10 or so practices in, everything gone according to schedule, or are you getting done what you hope to get accomplished early on?
Well, Steve, I think we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. I feel really good about what's happened in the preseason. I think the players came in and they were well prepared. They had a good workout in September, and the conditioning was better than it's been in the past. And all that just allows you to do more at a little bit quicker pace. So at this point, given the fact that we're still running a little bit late, I think we're in good shape compared to where we've been in the past.
Have to be happy to welcome back junior forward Jess Parada, 6-footer out of Morristown, New Jersey. Second team all-conference a year ago, 14.5 points, 9.1 rebounds. That's certainly someone to build around heading into the new season.
Yeah, what we've really done this year, Steve, because we don't have any seniors, is we've really challenged our 4 juniors, Jess certainly being one of them, to take a leadership and a mentorship with our younger players, and they've been just terrific. The maturity that we've seen since their sophomore years has been really uplifting, and so consequently, they're all kind of being challenged with that. Yeah, I think we looked at Jess because she's a legitimate all-conference player, but I think we may have some others as well. One never knows from year to year.
Well, let's talk about the other juniors and who you expect to step up and really take on that leadership role.
Well, certainly Alisha Palomani she's been a leader for 2 years. She's a 2-year captain. This is her 3rd year. So we almost take her for granted. She just does things well, and she does them very consistently. Caroline Shimrock is certainly another experienced junior who is also taking on the captain's role this year and has been terrific through the preseason. And then Alana Rocloud is improving year after year after year. So we would think that she would be a little bit more of a contributor than she's been in the past.
You mentioned Palomini and Shimrock both averaging a little more than 8 points a game a year ago. Other upperclassmen, as you mentioned, no seniors, a solid junior class. Any sophomores that you're expecting to really step up and make a bigger contribution in their second collegiate season?
I really think all the sophomores are going to step up. I mean, we have 6, and I think that the way they've shown, they're growing. I mean, they're still sophomores, and so there's experience. But certainly from where they were last year, I think they exhibited a little bit more confidence in their abilities. and we'll just let the season play out and see how much of contribution they really make.
When you look at the three newcomers in the freshman class, is there anyone that has surprised you with her maturity and maybe will be able to contribute significant minutes this year?
Well, I think freshmen are freshmen, and we have been pleasantly surprised by the way that they've come to work, especially experiencing this for the first time. How much time, what kind of a role they'll play at this point is a little bit hard to determine. We'll know more after our scrimmage on Saturday and after our tip-off tournament.
One of the hallmarks of the conference has been this balance. You look at 4 different teams reaching the conference final in the last 2 years. Who do you think might be able to step up and break through this year, or will it be some of the perennial favorites in the conference in 2015?
That's a great question. I just did my poll, and I don't know. I feel that certainly since I've been in the conference, there's so much parity now that it's really hard to predict. Certainly my predictions haven't been accurate over the years. So rather than try to single somebody out, I think we look at it from the standpoint that on any given night, any team can beat another, and I think that's what makes the conference really terrific from my standpoint, because you have to stay on your toes.
One of the things we also have is a lot of individual talent that's spread out throughout the conference. Who do you see as maybe some of the contenders for Player of the Year honors this year, or who are the players that you really have to identify and game plan against?
This is a real trap question here, Steve. When you look at the conference and you look at the teams, they all have 2 or 3 really what I would call outstanding players. And if I try to, I know if I name them, I'm going to leave somebody out. So I'm not going to do that. But I think, again, this is what really makes the conference strong. And when we prepare, it's a tough preparation trying to match up against the talent that is on the other teams.
In your opinion, what do you think it will take for Ursinus to make a return to the conference playoffs this winter?
Well, I think we have to play more consistently. We can't give up games early in the year. That's hurt us in the last couple of years. We have to play well. We have to play very, very well. We don't always have exactly the same talent as some of the other schools, and we're not nearly as big as some of the other schools. But I think that can be dealt with good execution and limiting turnovers and playing good defense. So whatever we have to do, to win, we're willing to do it.
We are giving the coach the last word. Anything else you want to share about the team's prospects or the upcoming season?
Well, we're going into it very optimistic. I feel good about this group that we have. They're terrific kids. They work really well together, and maybe we can surprise some people along the way.
Head coach Jim Buckley of the Ursinus College Bears, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Steve.
Now we welcome in Gettysburg head women's basketball coach Mike Kirkpatrick. His Bullets went 16-10 a year ago, finished in 5th place in the conference. Coach, welcome, and tell us a little bit about the preseason. Has it met your expectations so far?
We've had an awful lot of injuries so far, so we're not quite sure where we are. We've had dislocated shoulders, concussions. It's just been one thing after another, but I'm kind of pleased with our progress if we eliminate the injuries. So I think we've come a long way in 10 or more days. So I'm kind of anxious to get going and see how we do against our fellow Centennial Conference opponents.
Let's take a look at some of the top returnees for your squad this year. Your leading returning scorer is a junior Emily Duggan. She averaged 7.4 points a game last year. You also have junior Jessica Porter, who averaged 6 points a game, and senior Sam Pagel, who averaged 3.8. Let's start with Duggan and talk about what she brings to the club.
Well, I think she's our steadiest player, and I thought last year that's what made her so valuable for us. And we're expecting more out of her, to be honest. Looking over some of your questions as hints, she would be the one I would say we're expecting a little more out of. she's really steady. She really is consistent. We always know that we're going to get, you know, a set number of points and a set number of rebounds out of her, and she just keeps on keeping on, and it's we really respect that about her, but we're asking for more. I think Jess Porter is the big one, because as a freshman, obviously she had an outstanding freshman year, and then she dislocated her shoulder and played pretty much all last year with a harness on her shoulder. She's had surgery, and she's doing a really good job. She's healthy, so that we're excited about that. And probably the third person who I think might be impactful is Jenna Swope. She had a great sophomore year, blew her knee out last year, so we didn't have her all year. She's possibly our best all-around athlete / player, in that she defends well, she rebounds well, and she can score a little bit. So we're very, very excited to have her back. She kind of understands how to play basketball, and it really makes the others around her better. So they'd probably be the three that I would think are our big focus this year.
Are there other upperclassmen that you've seen improvement in, or are hoping to step up and really make a more significant contribution this season?
Duggan's the one that, you know, we wanted that extra out of, that we hope steps up a little bit more. But other than that, we're kind of feeling our way through the other spots and waiting to see, you know, how with Pagel. I mean, she played a lot last year, but like I said, I didn't mention her name, but she's the one that had a concussion. So, you know, we've been waiting to get her back. We haven't had her practicing for a while. We don't know when we'll have her back. So she's another one we would hope steps up.
6 freshmen dot the preseason roster, including a couple of 6-footers. Anyone you're looking for to really make immediate contribution to the collegiate game?
That's a good question. No. A lot of the freshmen are freshmen, and I don't know that they're ready yet, but they're making. A couple of them have made good progress, but I don't know that anyone's gonna, you know, jump in a phone booth and put on a Superman outfit. They're freshmen, and they're learning the ropes. But as I said, a couple of them are making good progress. So some of them will see action. Definitely will see action. Other than that, how much action? Yet to be determined.
Has someone stepped up to fill the point guard role for the team this year? Or is that still something to be determined over the next
That's going to be determined. That's one of the things. We have a couple freshmen that are working on that position. And also we have a returner in Kim Ryan, who's going to get a shot at it. So we're going to wait and see if we're going to call it a point guard or go with 2-guard front. We're kind of experimenting a little bit at that position. So that's another yet to be determined. That's going to be my line for the year, yet to be determined.
One of the hallmarks of the conference has been its balance, really, from top to bottom. You played Swarthmore in the conference championship game 2 years ago. Last year it was Haverford and Johns Hopkins. Who do you see as the teams to watch this year in the Centennial?
Well, first of all, I think the conference is, as has been shown the last bunch of years, is really tough, especially at the top. It seems that Haverford is there now, and they have Pizzuto returning. They have Lynch, arguably one of the top point guards and one of the best shooters in the conference. Plus, their big kid's pretty good too. So I would put them at the top. I mean, they're defending champions. So after that, I'd probably go with maybe McDaniel. A lot of returning starters. A lot of. I think they have 2. They have Perez, Wingard, maybe Nichols. All 3 double-digit scorers, so they should be really tough. And they're always very athletic and very aggressive. Hopkins has 4 or 5, maybe 6 seniors that are all McCullough, Clark back, Fairley. So they're gonna be tough. And Muhlenberg has Talamy. I mean, you might just say she's the best post player, except then you look at Larson at SWAT and you look at Parada at Ursinus, so it's going to be quite interesting. But I think they're probably the top couple teams.
Where in your tenure, you've seen teams rise and fall. You obviously, when you go into a venue, sometimes it's dependent on how good the opponent is going to be. Where do you find is the toughest environment to play in the conference? What presents the biggest challenge for your players?
Sometimes it depends on the day, to be honest. If it's a weekend and you have time to get somewhere and take a little bit of time, get off the bus, a place can change. For example, Ursinus, if it's a long trip for us, if it's a weekend game, it doesn't affect us quite as strongly, I don't think, as if a midweek game. But I think it's always a good game there. Jim does a great job. I think Haverford is a tough place to play. I think Hopkins, well, if you go to the top bunch of schools, I think they're all tough to play at. As you get further down the line in the competitiveness of it, then I think obviously that there's less pressure. There's a different expectation, but I think usually it's those top couple schools that are always at the 1 through 5 almost every year. They're tough. They're all tough to play at.
We'll give you the last word. Anything you want to talk about with anything we have missed? Talk about the team, what you're hoping for in the upcoming season.
Well, I'm hoping that we can maintain our level of play for the last bunch of years. We've been pretty solid in that group of playoff type teams. We're very young. We'll probably start 1 senior and 2. We only have 2, so 2 at the most. So I'm excited about the fact that down the line, we'll be building some of the younger kids up and trying to maintain our competitiveness. I think it's going to be a really tough conference. I think our top 5, 6, maybe even 7 teams are really tough and can knock each other off, which we do every year. We beat the heck out of each other, so probably this year won't be an exception. It's pretty exciting. We have some really neat players. I mean, Lynch can shoot the daylights out of it. You have Ptolemy, who's a great post-up player. You have Parada. There's just a lot of really nice players in the conference. I mean, McCullough at Hopkins is really a nice post player. And I just think it's a pretty cool conference. We have some really nice players. So I'm pretty excited to see how, 1 more year under their belt, what that does to their play and how that affects their team and our conference.
Gettysburg always has a nice assortment of players, too, to join that list, and we thank Bullet head coach Mike Kirkpatrick for joining us today. Thank you, Coach.
Have a great day.
Now we welcome in the head coach of the Muhlenberg women's basketball team, Rohn. Mules 16-10 a year ago, finishing 4th in the conference regular season. And, Coach, one of the first things that jumps out at you when you look at this year's roster is 7 seniors on the 2014-15 Muhlenberg squad, and one that really jumps out at you is Leanna Talamy. Talk about her.
Leanna Talamy, one of our returning seniors, leading scorer, leading rebounder. Just great to have a player like that back. You have a central point, a hub to build your team around. Top inside player, which is going to open up things for our outside game. You can't say enough about her. She's a handful inside. She's a physical player. She can dominate games at times, and other teams are centering their scouting report around her. So we're looking for a big year from her in her final year at Muhlenberg.
First team all-conference performer, averaged 17 points, 8 rebounds, and shot 48% from the field. 6 other seniors. Certainly got to make you feel good as you enter the preseason, knowing you have that kind of experience and that kind of leadership coming back.
Well, it's been great in our preparation. You'd like to begin every year where the last season ended, but you usually have to start again from the beginning. And this has been one of those rare preseasons where we have picked up from the end of last year because of those 7 seniors and just started building on that. In our practices and our preseason scrimmage, I felt that we really have a better idea what we're doing now than at any time last season. So that senior leadership and how they brought the team together and their knowledge of our system has really advanced our team very early on.
one of the keys coming back from an injury-plagued junior campaign is senior point guard Hannah Rush. You handed her the keys to the offense again this year?
No question, Hannah's a very big part of our offense and defense. We have good depth at point guard across the board, but Hannah gives us that certain dimension and spark. And all you have to see is that last season, when she was out injured, we were 5-6. She comes back, we go 11-3. It's like having that quarterback that just makes everything click around her. And hopefully we can sort of tape and paste her together for one more year.
Who joins her in the backcourt?
Janelle Fleet, another senior, took a lot of the time when Hannah was out last year. And Janelle Fleet is playing extremely well. Janelle was coming back from ACL surgery last season, so she wasn't 100% during most of the year. And then we have 2 freshmen who are giving us nice depth there.
And we expect some seniors involved in the rotation in the front court as well.
Yeah, I mean, our senior depth is small forward with Laura Gregory, who's playing better than ever, probably our most athletic player on the team, and I think maybe one of the most athletic players in the conference. 5'11", long, very athletic. Emily Lesher, a very similar player, long and athletic, is playing her best ball of her career as a senior. Nicole Pepe, who's played both 2 and 3, playing a lot of small forward. At the 2-guard spot, we've got Abby Stinger out of Richmond, Virginia, one of our senior captains. She's stronger, she's faster, she's more athletic this year. Just doing a great job and really shooting the ball consistently for our team. So we've got really good senior leadership at both wing spots, which makes for a great competition for everyone, in addition to the young kids coming up at those spots as well.
5 freshmen on this year's roster, and as one would think, the playing time, the number of minutes is going to be divided among a lot of players this year. Do you see any of the rookies making significant contributions?
You know, I think early on they're going to sort of have to take their climbs up the ladder one step at a time. They're all very talented. I think they will all probably be starters at one point during their career at Muhlenberg. I would say among those players most ready to play is Christina Manning out of a very strong program, Cardinal O'Hara out of Philadelphia. She shoots the ball extremely well. She's a ready-to-play in college type player. The only thing holding her right back is looking at 4 seniors at the wing positions who have played here for 4 years. But the other, our point guard in Brandy Valley is a very nice point guard. Will be very good for us if we run into injuries like we did last year. Our big kids, Chelsea Gary and Jess Voltaggio, give us great depth there. But again, we're very fortunate to be very deep at every position. It's one of those great problems as a coach, and it's one of those how do I get all these guys minutes problems as a coach.
Parity reigns in the Centennial Conference. 4 different teams have made it to the championship game in the last 2 years. How do you see the conference taking shape in 2015?
I think the conference may be deeper than it's ever been. You can go very far down the schedule and you can't find an easy game. In most leagues, if you want to win a championship, there's 2 or 3 other teams, about 4 games a year you got to win. And just don't blow one of the other ones. And it's rare to be in a conference like the Centennial Conference. You do not have a breather game on your schedule at any point during an 18-game season. Usually you have a few where, hey, we can take a little rest for the big games coming up. And we just don't have that, which makes for a great competitive conference, but it makes for very exhausted coaches by the end of the season.
Anything else you'd like to share with us about this year's team or the upcoming season, Coach?
Well, I think the one player I think that is a newcomer for us that perhaps goes under the radar a little bit is Caroline Barberi. She was a sophomore last year, but missed the entire freshman campaign because of a knee injury. And she's been as good in the preseason as any player on our team. She's a very strong 5'8", 5'9" guard. She shoots the ball, dare I say, with Alex Chile type range and accuracy. And if she can come anywhere near, I'm not saying she's Alex Chile, don't get me wrong, but she gives those dimensions that Alex did. I also really have been impressed in our 2 sophomore post players, Michelle and Maggie, who have just been tremendous for us playing physical in the preseason. And I think they're going to sort of help carry the load that Leanna has. In addition to Christina Santone. I mean, we've got a 6'3" center who can block shots, and not many people in Division III have that.
I think the other coaches in the conference are glad to hear there's not another 2,000-point scorer coming up in Allentown anytime soon. Coach Rohn of the Muhlenberg College Mules, thanks for your time today. Best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Now we welcome in McDaniel College head women's basketball coach Becky Martin. Green Terror, 21-7 a year ago, tied for second place in the conference regular season and reached the conference semifinals. And coach, you had 10, 11 days under your belt with the preseason. Give us a quick update on how things have gone so far.
Well, we're excited. We're back on the court and we're practicing, so we're always excited when we get to do that. We are at this stage. We're not game ready, but we're ahead of where we were this time last year with some conditioning, and it's nice bringing a team back that had an opportunity to experience some postseason competition. So the intrinsic motivation is there, and they're excited. They're excited about what they hope they can accomplish this year. So everybody's motivation level's up. They're working hard. They're having fun. Again, it's nice to see an upper class group and that leadership. The leaders this year, because they've had experience and they've been successful, they're doing a great job so far of mentoring our young athletes.
The other coaches that we've talked to, a lot of them have mentioned Steph Perez, first-team all-conference guard, averaged 12.7 points a game last year, one of the top 3-point shooters in the conference. Talk about what that means, having such experience and talent back in the backcourt this season.
Well, we're just so excited that our Energizer Bunny has another year remaining, and I'm already starting my little bit of I guess remorse from the standpoint of we're going to be losing her at the end of the year. She's been a phenomenal young woman to coach. She is, ready to go. As she says, we will, you can put a pair of sweats on her, and she's like, well, I have to make sure that the sweats have shorts on because I always have to be ready to play basketball. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to play basketball. So that's the type of kid she is. She's a 4.0. She's a scholar. She's a super athlete. I can't remember the last time I had a kid that was that much of a gym rat and worked that hard and was so interested in, her development and helping her team win. So we're just elated. She's that, again, if she were 5'10" or 6 foot, she wouldn't be playing in the Centennial Conference.
You have 3 other guards that are coming back with a lot of experience, all between 19 and 20 minutes per game last year. Carly Zepp's Swarthmore had 22 starts, but also you had contributions from Lindsay Nichols coming off the bench, as well as Brittany Davis.
Brittany and Carly and Lindsay are key elements in our success, factor this year. Lindsay, in all honesty, when you talk about starters, did she start, didn't she start? As far as I'm concerned, she was a starter. When you look at her number of minutes that she played, and she was there in big games at the end, she was capable of scoring some big points, and she won some big games for us, especially down the end with a last-second shot against Swarthmore here on our home court late in the season. She is another offensive punch that we're excited about, and she also brings the 3-point punch along with Steph Perez. Carly Zeps, she's a small forward, and I say that jokingly because she is small, but she's got great leaping ability. She's a nice athlete. She's continuing to develop her game, and we're looking forward to her stepping it up a little bit more this year as she continues to evolve and learn more about the game, because she's a relative newcomer to the game of basketball. And then, as we go down the line, if you want to talk about some of our other upperclassmen, well, I forgot Brittany. Can't forget Brittany. Brittany is one of those people that she's kind of that quiet player. She's not flashy, but she gets the job done. She's a smart player. She's very analytical out there. She's paid her due, so to speak, and she's finally stepping into the to the lead role as our starting point guard at this point. And that's one of the things that's neat. At least our top 5 or 6, they've played together for 3 years. So you see that level of familiarity, and they know one another's nuances, and that's really what's nice at this part in the season. But we're looking for Brittany to make some things happen and distribute the ball to the people who need the ball in their hands to score the points.
Are there other returnees that you've seen progress in the off season and are hoping for more significant contributions this season?
Well, right now, I'm going to go to two of our other seniors. Emma Wingert has started on and off for 4 years. She's quite a talent. I think she's one of those people that she's a consummate team player, so much to the point that it hurts her own stats at times. She's much more capable of scoring in the post, and we need her to take that role more so this year. She's got a great range, and she's another one of those vocal factors out there. This is her senior year, and we need her to step up, and the expectation is that she will this year. We hope that for her. And then, again, Lauren Ballinger, who we're just elated that she's back with us. She had that season-ending injury, ACL, at Hopkins here, which was a great victory for us last year. I said it was a perfect day, except for that unfortunate scenario where Lauren tore her ACL. And she's back playing, and, her recovery, I won't say it's short of a miracle, but I'm impressed with her tenacity and the way she's come back, and we're excited for her senior year, for it to come together, because she was a key factor defensively and offensively with a lot that we did last year, and we missed her depth-wise as we approached and got into the playoffs last year. It was a factor.
5 freshmen dot this year's Green Terror roster. Any that you're hoping that will step up and really contribute in their first collegiate season?
Well, early on, I think you're gonna hear the name of Jasmine Smith. She's a point guard that we're excited about in our program. She's quick. She has some jets. She's capable of scoring, taking the ball to the hoop. She's a smart player. The biggest factor for her, like most incoming freshmen, is learning our system, learning learning how to play with 12 other new teammates that she's never played with before. But if she if she's able to master that transition, she's going to be a player that we're excited about for the next 4 years and over her career. Along with the 2 guard that that joined us, Lauren Legler. She is again. She has to make the transition to college ball, but she can score. She's not shy about the physicality of the game. She knows the game. She sees things. So we're excited about what she's going to bring to the table this year. She's going to see quite a few minutes, and as she gains more composure, the sky's the limit. And she's another young player that we're excited to see what she's going to be able to do with our program in the next 4 years.
One of the big advantages for McDaniel when it comes to basketball is the excitement at Gill Gymnasium. You went 13-1 at home last year. Talk about that home court advantage and what it means in the conference.
Well, I'd like to say we have the best 6 man in the conference. We historically have been able to, have a great response from our student body. They've been great. They've been supportive, and over the last couple of years, as we have rekindled our program and scratched and clawed our way back up to the top, we're exciting to watch. And the kids, the student body is excited for us, and they're coming and having a great time. And we're looking forward to packing the gym. When we can say that we're bringing in 400 or 500 people to watch a women's basketball game, that's something exciting. Now, what we want to do ultimately is get where we were about 10 years ago, where we had 800 to 1,000 people coming to watch a women's game. That's really what I'd like to see. And as I told the kids, if you make it exciting and something that if you're exciting to watch and you're laying it on the line, people are gonna people are going to want to come watch you and be supportive and watch you be successful. So that's our goal. We want to bring as many people into the state to the as possible into them into our domain at Steel Gym.
We'll give you the last word. Anything else you want to share about your team in the upcoming season?
Like most coaches at this time of the year, we're cautiously optimistic. I'm excited about the young ladies. They're on the same page. They're working hard right now. Our coaching staff is elated with their intensity, and they want to improve. They want to continue to improve, and they're setting their sights high. And I think that the expectations are realistic, but as we all know, we've been in this a long time. It's not where you start, it's where you finish, and it's a long season, and there are a lot of things that can happen throughout the year. Hopefully we can stay healthy, and none of us get the flu at the most inopportune time, midwinter, and we're just looking for a fun year. I'm excited for this group because they've worked hard and they get along well and they're doing everything right, and we'll see how it plays out in the long run. But also knowing that in this conference on any given day anything can happen, and you can be ranked #1 and you could end up 6 or 7, depending upon how the chips fall and how the teams come together throughout this season.
The head coach of the Green Terror of McDaniel College, Becky Martin, thanks for joining us today. Best of luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Now we welcome in the head coach of the Haverford College Fords, the defending women's basketball champions, Bobbi Morgan. Coach, welcome. And 24-4 year ago, winning the Centennial title, a dream season in a lot of respects. What kind of residual impact has last year meant for preparations leading into this year?
Well, I think last year was really a special season in every way for us. It was kind of a culmination of a lot of years for many of the players here. I think really what it's done is it's proven that we can achieve what we set out to do, and so we have that mindset. But we're really trying to focus on the fact that that was the past, just like every season is the past. So, it's been a really nice feeling, and it's certainly helped with recruiting because people are more attracted to Haverford now. They see the success that we've had, but it's a new year now, so even if it was a bad year, it would still be behind us.
New year, a lot of seniors graduated, but you returned 2 of the top players in the conference, a pair of second-team all-conference honorees in senior Elizabeth Lynch and senior Jackie Pizzuto. Lynch averaged 12.8 points a game last year, Pizzuto 9 points, 3.8 assists. It's got to be comforting having that kind of experience back.
Yeah, those players are really that class. Jackie Pizzuto, Elizabeth Lynch, actually Shannon Smith too. They really helped kind of put us over the edge. When they came in as freshmen, that was our first winning season, and first time we made the playoffs 3 years ago, and since I've been here anyway. And those players are really used to winning, and certainly their experience from last year and just over the last 3 years is going to really be, kind of what we anchor ourselves on this year.
You look at the 2 of them. Lynch stands 5'11", Pizzuto 5'3", but they still have similar types of games. Both can step outside and shoot the 3, and Lynch certainly has the inside game as well. Pizzuto's a flashy driver and can dish off the ball with the ball as well.
Yeah, Jackie is just really the ultimate point guard. She has unbelievable poise, presence, confidence. She's a terrific leader. She plays the game. She stays at such an even keel, and that the team kind of feeds off of that. She scores when she can. I'd like to see her score more, and maybe this year she might step up a little bit with that. And Gert, her name's Elizabeth, but we call her Gert. She's just a scorer. She's capable of hitting 5 or 6 threes in a row and breaking a game open. She's really actually almost 6 foot, so she can post up too. And both of those kids played for state championships in high school, and they kind of brought that winning mentality when they arrived here as freshmen, and it's really helped us.
I want to give props to Shannon Smith as well. Talk about another force in the middle. leading field goal percentage shooter on the team, had 57 blocks a year ago, obviously brings a lot to the defense.
Yeah, she had a breakout season last year, and she had played behind Dominique Meeks and gotten minutes as a freshman and a sophomore, but last year she played a lot more and really kind of came into her own, and she's been playing great this year. I think she's really going to be a force. She's a great defensive player, but she can score, and she's another kind of kid that stays very even-keeled, doesn't get rattled, and just plays hard the whole game.
Other upperclassmen that you can see stepping in and filling some pretty big shoes from the graduating class of 2014.
Yeah, I think, Pallavi Janija is a guard who played probably, a good number of minutes last season in a role. She's a backup point guard. She can also play the two. And she's really a good scorer and a great shooter. And I think that she's going to step up this year. She had come off of injuries as a freshman. She had a knee injury and didn't play. And she really is just starting to get back into her, I think, has found her confidence, and I expect her to do a lot of things this year. She's our fourth senior. And then behind them, I really think it's going to be a mix of underclassmen that will be fighting for time, including some of our freshmen.
Any of the freshmen that you expect to step up and make maybe more of a contribution than some others this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of freshmen, and so right now, they've had 10 practices with us, so it's really still a lot of learning. But we do expect Sam Wetzel to contribute immediately. She's a 6'3" forward center from New Jersey, and she seems a little bit more seasoned than some of the other ones, and I expect her to play right away. And I think several others will too. I'm just not sure yet. We kind of have to wait and see.
The conference has shown a remarkable balance over the past few years. Your ascendance as a program, a couple of years ago, Gettysburg and Swarthmore met for the championship. Who do you see as being a force to contend with besides Haverford this year in the conference?
Well, we're the defending champions, but I think there's going to be a lot of very good teams. And obviously Hopkins, I think, returns the most when I look at it on paper, and they beat us twice last year. We just were fortunate to get them in that one final game. I think they return the most from all the teams, but I still think that, and I don't want to say top to bottom because there's balance, but I think all across there's probably 8 teams maybe that can really be contending for the playoffs. And typically most years it comes down to those final few games, right, every year in our conference to determine, which is a great thing. And I think that, you have to see who has new kids that will contribute. I think Ursinus was really young last year. Muhlenberg, McDaniel, I thought had an excellent year, and they return a lot. There really isn't a team that I would say, oh boy, there's not going to make a chance for the playoffs. I don't think that there's a team that I look at that this year that way.
Gert and Jackie are certainly two of the top players that are returning in the conference. Some of the players not on the Haverford squad that cause you to stay up late at night doing some defensive planning.
I'm too old to stay up that late at night, but I think I think there's a lot of really great, talented kids in our conference. And again, I'll start with Hopkins. I mean, their backcourt, Tomasi, she's obviously Katie Clark, great players. They have some good big kids. Kiara McCullough is a really tough player. Talamy at Muhlenberg was just a force last year. And again, McDaniel, Perez, Wingert, Just Parada at Ursinus. I don't want to offend anybody by leaving anybody out. I mean, I look at every roster and, and I say this to our team. I mean, these kids they'd be playing for us. They're really good. And so, but that's what makes it fun. And certainly Elle Larson at Swarthmore. I really wish she had graduated already, but she hasn't. So a lot of good players and a lot of great, good coaches and a really, just a good camaraderie in the league too.
Coach, we'll give you the final word. Anything that else you mention about your team or the upcoming season? We're
excited to start, and last year is in the past, so certainly it was a great experience for everybody. But we're starting new, just like everybody else, and hoping to be there again, in the playoffs. So I wish everybody a lot of luck. I hope it's a great season and everybody stays healthy and there's no snow.
Head coach Bobbi Morgan of the defending champion Haverford College Forge, thank you for joining us today. Best of luck this season.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Take care.
Now we welcome in the head coach of the Johns Hopkins women's basketball team, Nancy Funk. The Blue Jays finishing 18-8 a year ago, tied for second in the regular season in the conference, and reaching the conference championship game. And Coach, could you give us just a sense of how the preseason has gone so far? 10, 11 days in, are you getting accomplished what you hope to get accomplished so far?
We are. I mean, as everyone is working hard at this point, but we've faced a few minor injuries, just wear and tear a little bit from the preseason workouts, and I think we're going to be in pretty good shape going into the first game.
3 starters back from last year's 18-8 squad, led by junior guard Katie Clark, averaged just under 12 points a game. Obviously, along with Liz Tomasi, who chipped in a little more than 7. Is that going to comprise your backcourt?
I hope so. We were looking for some of the backup point guards to step forward. We're looking for Danny Brown to step into a key role for us. We hope that Stacey Ferry will get healthy, and looking for her to have a better season this year as a senior.
Now, when you compare Katie and Liz in particular, what are the differences in their games? One a slasher, one a jump shooter?
I'd say that Katie can do pretty much everything, and Liz likes to get strong to the basket, and she's a good finisher. She's gritty, tough defender. She can play a lot of different roles for us, and will definitely back up Katie at the point position.
One of the hallmarks of your teams has always been strong post play, and you have 3 seniors back in Kira McCullough, Maggie Fruin, and Haley Bush. Talk about the differences in their games and what they mean to the post for Hopkins.
Well, we're going to be a little deeper and a little more experienced in the post position. Haley and Maggie are more of what I would call power forwards with a little bit of a different kind of game from each of them. Haley's a little stronger, muscle shot, power back to the basket player, and Maggie is definitely more of a finesse player, driver. She has a little bit more range than Haley, but both of them are very strong rebounders. Kira is strictly a post player, works very well around the basket, and I'm looking for her to have her best season ever. But behind her are 2 talented sophomores in Janae Smith and Rachel Cook. So we are a little deeper and a little more experienced in that post position.
You already took care of my next question. Was going to be, was anyone you're hoping to make that quantum leap from the freshman sophomore year into significant playing time? Is there anyone else that has impressed you during the off season and the preseason that may also contribute significant minutes?
If we can get her healthy, we have a freshman, Emily Rembert, who is going to be a very good utility guard/forward player. But right now she's down.
You've been you're one of the deans of the conference coaches, and when you look at the Centennial Conference over the years, one of the words I think we can use is parity. When you look at the 2014-15 season, do you see it being pretty strong top to bottom again?
I do. I think that several teams are going to emerge this year, though, from being contenders to being in the top 3 spots. One of them, I think, is going to be McDaniel, but watch out for Ursinus, and Muhlenberg's always in the mix. But I do think that Dickinson is going to have a much stronger team this year with a new coach, and Mary Martin as the Rookie of the Year last year, and a pretty good surrounding cast of young players that have a year under their belts.
What do you think it is that makes this conference so? There's so much equality, so much parity across the board.
Well, everyone's out recruiting all summer long at all the camps. The UAA system has changed recruiting forever. And so there is more talent, and we've talked about this before. These players are playing at a very young age, so developmentally they're getting better and better every year. So the talent pool is naturally going to spread out considerably, and we often are running into the Ivy Leagues when we are recruiting pretty much the same kids. So I think that what happens is that, our conference being a strong conference and now a real contender at the national level, we are fighting for the same kids, and that's good, because that means that we're all going to get better because of the quality of the players that are out there for us.
Rather than ask a question, I'll give you the last word. Anything else you'd like to tell us about your team in the upcoming season?
Well, we're looking for our senior leadership to hold our team to a much higher standard, and it's not that we have to work harder, because our kids work pretty hard, but I think we just have to work more efficiently and more effectively together, and in certain areas that we've targeted for our improvement. And we need to maintain a higher level of conditioning and stamina throughout the season. I thought we sort of lost our legs last year. And so we just have to keep collectively getting better every single day, and that's our challenge.
Johns Hopkins head basketball coach Nancy Funk, always one of our favorites to talk to. Thanks for joining us, Coach, today, and best of luck this season.
Thank you, Steve.
Really competitive. There's always that stigma that D3 isn't the greatest, it's lower than the other two, but there's just so many amazing players, and it's always, tough playing against them, and it's always a challenge.
Every night out on the floor, we found ourselves in a tough last 2-minute scramble for the victory kind of game, so it's just interesting, and it's anyone's game every night.
Playing in the Centennial Conference is a good opportunity to have great competition at the Division III level. There's a lot of kids that just love playing basketball, and every time we have a game, it's really competitive, and people have great ability on the court.
I think that the Centennial Conference is very competitive, and on any given night, any team can walk into a gym and win.
Well, I would say the best part about playing basketball and really any sport is the parity or the competition. I think anything could happen any given night. Anybody could really beat anybody. I also think I like the location. Everybody's within 2 hours or so, so it provides a good support system. Parents can get to every game.
I'm actually not that superstitious, and I don't really have a typical pregame, but I do always wear the same socks and hair tie for games.
Last year I had this really weird one where I had to eat an egg sandwich in the morning before every game, and the one game Emma decided she wanted to hide my only egg, and I couldn't find it, and I didn't play very good the first half, and I blame it on her.
Crank our music in the locker room, and not really any superstitions. I remember sophomore year, Lauren put together a video compilation of sports movies and stuff. It was Miracle, Remember the Titans, and she showed that during our playoff run sophomore year, and that really got us pumped. So maybe she'll do that again. I always listen to music. We have pregame hair, and I always have to take Advil.
One thing that I do for a pregame ritual is I pray during the national anthem while it's being played. I just think it helps me relax and ease my mind.
I have two. My first is Becky Hammond. She was kind of my idol growing up. She's an incredible point guard, and I really looked up to her. And my current favorite athlete is Maya Moore. She's just an incredible athlete, an incredible player. She can kind of do it all on the floor, and she just has this amazing will to win.
Skylar Diggins. I really like watching her play.
I think one of my favorite athletes would be Maya Moore from UConn basketball. I just thought she was always such a great player, and I really enjoyed watching her all the time when she was playing at UConn.
I'm going to have to go with Shane Victorino, even though he's a Red Sox now. I mean, he was a Philly for a long time, and he's just a great athlete.
My favorite athlete, I come from New York, so it would have to be Derek Jeter. I think he's a great role model. He's a class act, and he's someone to really look up to as an athlete.
I think one thing that Coach does before every game is he comes into the locker room, really pumps us up, gets us ready for the game. He writes on the whiteboard about each key player that we're going to play and how we're going to match up against them, and I think it just really helps get us into the game.
My coach likes to address us by our full names. And during games, she likes to dig her heel into the ground and yell your full name.
There's a lot to choose from, but my favorite is probably in practice when we're shooting foul shots and Bobbi says double or nothing when we miss. It happens very frequently.
Well, every year we always have goals for the season, and so this year's saying for the season is win the day. So at practice she always reiterates kind of like going after and accomplishing those goals, and also she tends to have a lot of nicknames for girls on our team. People call me Keeks, but I don't always appreciate when she calls me. It's usually the other teammates that do.
Well, when she wants us to go faster, she goes, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's like really, really fast, and she gets all hyper and is jumping up and down trying to get us to go faster.
We like the idea of one. So we have hanging on our door walking into the locker room a big poster, and it just has the word one going down the front of it. And just team unity is really important to us.
I would say Gettysburg, especially if it's a day game, because they have windows in their gym and the sun comes through and sometimes it's hard to see the basket.
There's not one that's toughest to play in, but I think considering the distance, Muhlenberg is always a 3-hour drive, so it's always tough coming off the bus and just getting right into game mode.
Definitely McDaniel, I would have to say. Their fans always come out and are ready to really mess with the other team, so it's rowdy, and as a freshman last year, it was hard to get used to, but I'm ready for it this year, and I won't let it bother me this time.
Washington's, it's so hard to play there.
I would probably say Hopkins, just because it's kind of tight in there, and they always have a rowdy student section who's like standing right along the sideline, so it gets distracting.
I think Haverford, because I don't think they lost anyone, or no, they did lose some people, but they won last year, so, and they're always tough.
I think everybody has a pretty good shot, but I'm going to go with Haverford just because they're the defending champs, and I think Bobbi Morgan's a really great coach.
I think every team has the opportunity to win. I think that's what makes the Centennial Conference awesome. But if I had to pick a team, maybe, I guess Muhlenberg.
I think it's a toss-up between McDaniel or Johns Hopkins. They're both going to be really competitive teams this year, and I think that they both have good chances.
To be honest, I really can't say right now. I think you can't really predict your success this year on last year, and anyone really has a good shot at winning this year.